Welcome. I'm Barbara Call, Senior Director of Content Strategy at CIO Marketing Services, and I'll be your host and moderator for today's webcast titled Strategic Planning for an Agile World, and brought to you by CIO and OpenText with a guest speaker from IDC. I have four speakers with me today. First up is Melinda Carroll Balu, Research Director, Agile ALM, Quality and Portfolio Strategies at IDC. Welcome, Melinda. My second speaker is Gopinath Drokanaibi, Advisor of Software Engineering, Tool Support, Enterprise Tools, and DevOps at Fannie Mae. Welcome, Gopinath. My third speaker is Bhaskar Sati, Senior Manager, Software Engineering, Tool Support, Enterprise Tools, and DevOps, also at Fannie Mae. Welcome, Bhaskar. And my fourth speaker is Julian Fish, Director, Product Management, Application Delivery Management at OpenText. Welcome, Julian. To get started, Melinda will give us a brief overview of the state of the market and what's driving adoption. Melinda, over to you.
Thanks, Barbara. It's great to have an opportunity today to speak with Julian from OpenText and with Gopi and Bhaskar from Fannie Mae. I'm going to start off with a series of discussions about what we're seeing from trends with regards to automated software quality and how quality is driving business agility and execution. So what we find in our IDC research is the increasing use of automation to enable execution with software quality across the DevOps lifecycle as well. So the key trends around quality adoption are the role that software quality plays for executing high quality software applications. No one wants to be creating broken, ugly, poor performing, irrelevant, vulnerable applications more quickly. And so there's a vital role that automated software quality plays in that context. And with the increasing use of automation enabling DevOps and also the cloud providing a key distribution vehicle, an abstraction layer that isolates workloads from infrastructure, automation and analytics that drive real-time control. And that coupled with the power of analytics. Of course, there's a huge amount of interest right now around generative AI and ML, but we see the leverage of data that's available within these systems being critical to enabling better execution. So what we found during the pandemic and emerging from that was that these storms of disruption enabled the new digital era in ways that organizations hadn't thought was possible before. And that's prepared us now to be thinking about the importance of the ability to change quickly, to move on a dime, to respond to emerging technologies and changing organizational situations. So what we saw was the shift to reinvention with digital disruption. So you can see here in this survey the evolution of organizations from staying the course and basically trying to get done what you needed to do to reinventing and repositioning organizations pretty dramatically during the time frame emerging from the pandemic. So what we're also finding is that higher quality applications and improved developer and operator productivity are the top drivers to scaling DevOps across organizations. Also, faster deployments would be the third area of focus, enabled as well by automated software quality. The other piece here is the impact of failed software innovation on organizations, missed opportunities to improve internal efficiency, revenue declines, missed opportunity to prevent competitive disruption. So enabling competitive positioning are key aspects to enabling organizations to execute effectively. What we're also finding in this recent study that just published this month around the role that generative AI can play with regards to software quality and testing, development processes are viewed by organizations having the most potential to benefit from generative AI, not with writing code, which is third here, which is of course a key aspect, what you see with Copilot, for instance, but software quality and testing, followed by security testing and vulnerability management as key areas of focus that will benefit from generative AI and that are already benefiting from AI and ML, as we'll see when we hear a bit more about the automated capabilities that OpenText will be discussing. So key drivers for innovation and ASQ adoption include digital innovation, which has been driving execution more than ever moving forward, and quickly develop software that enables digital execution and leveraging across technology stacks and multimodal execution and deployments. So quality delivery issues combined with demand for business velocity and dramatic rates of change. and the lack of digital testing remains a core bottleneck for organizations. The rapid uptake and benefits of advanced analytics and opportunities to apply machine learning, AI, and robotic process automation to improve testing and automation are also key drivers for the growth that we're seeing with regards to automated software quality. Continuous testing and agile adoption, which we'll hear about from Bhaskar and Gopi shortly, and their execution, applying continuous testing to development and execution are key towards rapid competitive positioning and execution with regards to software deployments. The primary goal for a majority of organizations is product and service quality, and software quality is key for that. So these factors combine to drive demand for machine learning, AI, RPA, and ASQ strategies. So one of the things that was interesting as we spoke to a number of end user organizations about their adoption of agile processes, their key practices for organizations to move forward. One of them was gleaning insights from teams to help shift to agile innovation by destigmatizing failure. Failure is a blockage to change because organizations are too worried, teams are too worried about making the shift to be able to actually optimize their execution by changing what they do. Embedding testers into agile sprint teams was a key strategy. Enabling and insisting on coordination of software quality with stakeholder needs, so coordinating business teams with those folks focusing on the agile side for execution for quality. Educating teams to adopt consistent test automation and leveraging that data to benefit from it. And then shifting to agile testing and modern development service-oriented approaches to engage teams. So as part of this agile evolution, we also see organizations beginning to focus on value stream automation. So as we consider that in the context of quality adoption, the focus here is on enabling developers to do more high value work and automating in that context to enable that. Also, other survey information from IDC shows that value stream management is a key focus area for investment moving forward, and as well, coordination with automation. So as we think about automated capabilities for organizations, IDC and I authored as part of my work at IDC for IDC Marketscapes and automated software quality because it's such a key area of focus for the end users that we're dealing with. And one of them is enterprise ASQ and continuous testing that published last year. And you can see here a range of providers that we evaluated, 24 in all. And the benefits for the enterprise automated software quality capabilities that provided by the leaders here included depth and breadth of capability, coordination around DevOps capabilities as well, typically owning their own suites or focusing on a key area for DevOps, say application modernization, for instance. The major vendors have strong ASQ and core areas with areas of focus in, say, DevSecOps or digital quality. The contenders tended to have lesser functionality, but were targeted for specific areas, and the participant was focusing on a specific area for testing. So the key takeaways from that marketscape are that enterprise capabilities require high-end, deep, broad, and modern functionality from core traditional areas for quality, including performance and functional testing, test management methodology frameworks, and also the ability to do service virtualization and cloud testing. When we think about this context for quality strategy, we see organizations needing to respond rapidly to changing business and technology needs, and the complexity, quality, and productivity combined to enable this focus and necessity and imperative to move forward with software quality automation. What we recommend that organizations do is evaluate the gaps in test automation and the opportunities to bring in effective customer experience quality across technology and workflow areas, looking also again at value stream and agile processes and organizational strategies, the opportunity to assess and appropriately leverage machine learning and AI with intelligent analytics to leverage that data that can be too frequently locked up invisibly in the systems and to make that information pragmatically actionable. We advise organizations prioritize your automation investments based on what's most important for your business, and then gain executive leadership buy-in to enable that shift to systemic adoption across your organizations to set early, continuous test strategies to deliver quality releases and adhere to management initiatives. So I'd like to turn now to my friend Julian Fish, and he's going to talk a little bit about the technologies available from OpenText. Julian?
Perfect. Thank you, Melinda. And welcome everyone. I think one of the key areas that Melinda just mentioned was the shifting priorities that organizations face when they're adopting transformation strategies. Over here at OpenText, we've been working for a number of years on the whole process of helping organizations go through digital transformation. One of the key areas that we focus on, and the area that we'll talk most around today, is application delivery and quality. But that's just one of the many pillars that exist within OpenText. We have application modernization, shifting and lifting from mainframe or mainframe modernization, business network and connectivity, digital operations management, and all the associated capabilities that tie into operations management with IT infrastructure, cybersecurity, analytics and AI. Melinda mentioned earlier on the focus on analytics and AI that we're seeing in the market at the moment. A huge amount of capability around content management and user experience management, all providing data and insights into our consumer and our end customer world. To tie it together a little bit more, I guess let's think about the area that we spoke about earlier on, this whole notion of product delivery. DevOps is a very well used term. The DevSecOps landscape is a very, very broad set of capabilities. When we're thinking of DevSecOps, and specifically when we're thinking about it from an automation perspective, a lot of the time we think of the application delivery automation, the infrastructure automation, test automation, and test execution automation is a really key component of that. This incredibly detailed slide that we see on screen at the moment, the notion of product delivery value streams tying together business and IT really tries to explain the notion of application delivery in context, starting with demand on the left-hand side, how the business requires us to move faster, to deliver more capability more quickly, all the way through to systems running in production, the business-facing systems with the changes that we've implemented, and the support from a help desk perspective, making sure that we're tracking and addressing any challenges along the way. Between that demand and that production system, that idea and that value, we have a huge number of domains that we'll be going through: portfolio governance, change management, version control, build management, and so on. Today, we'll focus primarily on the test and execution management component. And for that, we look at our application delivery management portfolio. Here at OpenText, working with our customer base, we spent the last 30 plus years focusing on improving the quality of application delivery. That's everything from Agile and DevOps management, the world of functional testing, AI patterns within functional testing. We'll talk a little bit about a component of our Value Edge platform, which is all around next generation functional testing. Quality management and governance, making sure that the things are being done correctly at the right level of quality and our product deliveries are really suitable for our end customer use. And finally, performance engineering. And we'll talk a lot more about performance engineering as we shift into Fannie Mae and our counterparts, our colleagues over there, who'll be giving a little bit of insight into the challenges that they were facing with performance engineering and how Micro Focus, now OpenText, help address those. When we're talking around application delivery, one of the shifts we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years is a big transition of customers moving from going fast without breaking things, moving as quickly as possible with content delivery and new application updates, to the notion of value-based delivery, being able to deliver as much value in as short a space of time at as high a level as quality as possible. And the notion of value delivery ties into a concept that we over here at OpenText, in conjunction with our counterparts at the Value Stream Management Consortium, have been working on, the notion of business value streams and digital value streams. Our business value streams supporting our end consumer interactions, our customer interactions, maybe something like consumer banking, or potentially even something like mortgage lending, Fannie Mae being particularly akin and familiar with that area. Claims processing, patients' records, all of these different business value streams being supported by one or multiple digital value streams. If we think about the mortgage lending process, it isn't just a single digital process that supports it. There's not just a single component application. There are multiple interlocking applications, looking at things like fraudulent systems, looking up areas of our business value stream that tie into end consumer verification. The digital value streams are a really important component of the business value stream, and the business value stream will have multiple digital value streams supporting it. Breaking that digital value stream out into a little bit more content and detail, we see multiple phases existing within the digital value stream. Planning, building, testing, delivering, and operational running, each with their own discrete owners. Folks, for example, like the VP of quality who's responsible for the overall quality of these digital value streams, the VP of application delivery who's responsible for the successful build and the quality of the applications that are being pushed out of the door. And of course, over on the production side, our VP of operations maintaining the systems, getting our 5 or 6 nines worth of stability as the products run in production environments. Being able to smooth the flow through the digital value stream and to be able to transition more quickly through those first 4 stages is key to driving business benefit. What do I mean by business benefit? The ability to deliver net new features and capabilities that drive business differentiation as quickly as possible. And you'll see here, we have plan, build, test, and deliver. And test highlighted in green. Why? Because the automation around the test components and the successful use of infrastructure as part of those testing components is a real way to drive both business benefit and even improvements to energy consumption, reducing things like greenhouse gas emissions. What do I mean by that? Well, having test systems sitting there running all of the time when they're not 100% used is highly energy inefficient. By provisioning dynamically infrastructure, by spinning up testing environments, by performing load and capacity verification against systems, spinning them up, testing, shutting them down again, we get a huge amount of benefit and reduction of energy and cost and associated GHG emissions. So delivering successfully in the test box with the green outline can really reduce the content and increase the time to value that you see from successful application delivery. All of the components that I've mentioned so far tie into the OpenText Value Edge DevOps and Value Stream Management platform. We'll talk specifically around the performance engineering section of this platform as Fannie Mae give their examples and address the challenges that they were facing. But specifically within performance engineering, the Value Edge Performance module allows us to dynamically provision infrastructure. It allows us to track virtual users. It allows us to instantiate and validate everything that's happening from a test perspective. But as you can see, it's just a single component, a single module in a much broader set of capabilities. Everything from strategic portfolio management to governance through to operational governance. So value stream management, DevOps and VSM, with all of the insights across the end-to-end platform, through the Value Edge platform, being able to then take care and uplift insights from all of these different areas, tying together our performance execution with our load runner product into our visibility and our insights from our quality engineering product, tying that back to the code that's been changed from our code management component, and tying that all the way back to our strategic goals and alignment to track the value that's being delivered through our end-to-end flow. Another way to think of it is a multitude of components working together, helping organizations gain the benefits of end-to-end visibility, being able to integrate into existing tools and technologies, and at the same time, being able to increase the flow of value from an end-to-end product delivery perspective. We'll talk way more about the performance engineering module in a couple of moments' time. But for now, back over to you, Melinda, and let's get into a little bit more depth and content around Fannie Mae.
Well, thank you so much, Julian, for going over that role that value stream management plays and also performance testing as part of the overall portfolio for OpenText. I'd like to welcome Bhaskar and Gopi now to talk to us a bit about Fannie Mae's use of your technology and the challenges they were facing. So I'm wondering if you both could respond to the question about what you were dealing with as you considered bringing in OpenText Micro Focus to address your performance testing challenges.
Thank you, Melinda. The challenges in performance engineering and performance testing can be spread in two categories. One is from the engineering perspective, another from the test delivery perspective, whether it's a centralized team doing the testing of the business applications or the development community doing the testing of their application within Sprint. The test management is one major issue in any testing model, and then capturing the system performance, like monitoring when the performance test is conducted for the entire application landscape, including the systems. And then tracing and correlating the performance events and metrics. Testing a diverse tech stack, given that we have a huge number of application portfolios. And from the engineering perspective, as well as the application perspective, the network bandwidth on the hosted systems and also between the on-prem and cloud is another challenge, and scalability of the testing infrastructure from the engineering perspective. That's a big challenge, given that when we have infrastructure in the on-premises environment, we cannot scale that to test larger applications with a heavy volume traffic. And then the administrative overhead for the infrastructure provisioning, specifically in the hybrid environment. Not having a reliable system from test infrastructure perspective, as well as the application, is a challenge. And then address the need to provide the capacity in the modern systems like cloud. That is another thing we need to address. And then the big challenge is the source code management of the test artifact within the test management infrastructure, so that or the application development source control systems.
So those are formidable challenges that you guys were facing in the context of making a decision about what you're going to choose for automated testing at that point. Were you automating your testing then, or was that, what were the key considerations you were needing to solve for as you thought about your evolution as an organization at Fannie Mae?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. So in our attempt to find a solution that meet our objectives, we chose the LoadRunner as a test management platform. So using the LoadRunner Cloud, performance testing is delivered or under our enterprise operating model. We have a you build, you own concept. That is, our application delivery teams actually they can test their application, business application within these sprints to meet their timeline. So that is number one, thing. And using LRC, application teams can get early insights on their applications by following the Agile principles, such as shift left performance testing, complying with the SRE principles like SLO, defining the SLO, and identifying all the bottlenecks from the application, thus delivering a quality systems. So the solution the solution we chose and built is capable of testing diverse tech stacks, which was the one of the key challenge I mentioned in the previous question. So that is another thing we address. And the load runner clouds feature to host the load generators within the cloud environment. That is the biggest benefit we were seeing. And the integration of source control management, like Bitbucket, where for the test artifact, along with our application code. So, and Bitbucket integration to upload the test script from the SCM to the load runner clouds control plane through the SaaS UI using the load runner cloud Git agent.
Right. So it sounds like the combination of the more flexible infrastructure, having that control over that, plus the integration with other aspects of the DevOps process with Bitbucket as an example, were helpful to you. Can you talk a little bit about the deployment process and how you evolved the implementation? Hey, Bhaskar.
Hi, Melinda. This is Bhaskar. I will take on that question. Thank you, Julian, and rest of the OpenText and IDC folks for giving this opportunity for both Gopinath and I. I'm happy to share our experience on how did we implement Load Runner Cloud and the kind of homegrown solution we developed to meet our needs, right? So though Load Runner Cloud offers load generators on the cloud within OpenText Cloud, but we chose a hybrid solution. Again, the drivers for that is one is our InfoSec requirement to generate the load from within Anime's cloud and as well as our network bandwidth considerations. So we went with the load generator setup in our own cloud. However, we still leverage the OpenText control plane and the actual driving of the test happens from LRC SaaS UI, right? We set up these on-premise load generators. We also tell them as OPLGs. We set up through our own CI/CD pipeline, both provisioning and deprovisioning of the load generators. And we have the feature of scaling up of our load generators. And apart from the pipeline, we also leveraged the public APIs of Load Runner Cloud, which helped us, to automate the test execution and also the reporting of the administrative tasks that our performance engineers have to perform from time to time. With regard to the custom solution, when we got the product approval from our own internal architecture review board, we were being guided to maintain the application credentials, be it the client secrets or the user credentials. They can be part of the test scripts, meaning though there can be encrypted credentials, but that was not a big no from our InfoSec standards. So we went with vaulting of the secrets on our own secrets manager, so which necessitated to develop a custom solution to read those credentials at runtime. We did mention this to OpenText as well, that this can be an enhancement for future releases, right? So apart from this, we also kind of created some ideas and enhancement requests to OpenText for, for the performance engineering analysis reports. We had the different type of percentile reports, be it 95th percentile, 99th percentile. Could actually get that solution be implemented at short notice from OpenText. Thank you, OpenText team, for making this happen for us.
It sounds as if that collaboration was really important to you in helping to resolve some of the issues you needed with the hybrid system that you created, right? Talk a little bit about the benefits that you're seeing from this automated processes that you put in place with the cloud infrastructure, with your own combined solution to address the needs that Fannie Mae had. That would be helpful. Thank you.
Sure, Melinda. So as I said earlier, we definitely got a good scalability of our cloud load generators, which Gopinath was mentioning as one of our challenge as well when we had our own on-premise data center-based load generators. Compared to that, when we chose the load on our cloud, we were able to get the load generators at a scalable capacities for us. Apart from that, we could also get the resiliency of our testing platform be thoroughly tested, right? And so far, we could onboard at least around 15 plus business applications being onboarded, and they are actively using the platform. And we were able to automate a lot of our testing activity through public APIs, which I mentioned, both for test execution as well as some of the administrative tasks. The public APIs really came very handy for us. Coming to the metrics perspective, we were able to get the total runs, the virtual users usage, the duration of the test, the protocol usage, the different percentile-based metric reports. They are kind of a big game changers for us when we are analyzing our test reports. And to make it happen for our development community to run these tests early in the development lifecycle. So we have a few of our development teams are also able to execute the tests during early sprints of the Agile sprints.
That's great. And I'm curious also about how you're measuring and quantifying success, the kinds of key performance indicators you're using or OKRs as part of that process. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the thing is, all these key metrics and as part of the OKR, is one of the important thing that we need to measure as part of the test delivery in Agile environment. So that also, are bundled into our strategy for software quality testing. As we begin our digital transformation a few years ago in our enterprise, we had a lot of challenges. Measuring the key performance indicator and tracing the test requirements, testability, RTM. So all those things were, the biggest challenge. So, as we discussed in the challenges and the solution we adapted and the benefit it offers, it provides highly reliable. So if you are looking at the Agile environment, you need to have a system that delivers constantly. So the system itself needs to be Agile. And so then the development community or the testing community can actually use that resilient systems. I'm referring to the test infrastructure and that we engineer for our internal customers, so that they can actually use the platform and deliver their testing within the Agile development sprint to sprint, and deliver value to our both business streams and the digital streams. So this is one of the key statistics, strategy we have. And the to your original question of how do we measure the key metrics as part of OKR is, we have a combination of systems in a collaboration with our tools, testing tool platform, which load on the cloud in this example gives the ability to use its public API to gather the metrics of interest for the OKR we deal with or our development community deals with. So that is how we deal that, so that we can actually constantly gather the metrics and validate our SRE related metrics and also the metrics that interest our leadership.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be able to pull those pieces together across different systems to have that visibility. So that makes really good sense to me. I'm curious about how you see the systems moving forward into the future beyond your current strategy. Where do you see it going, and how do you see it evolving over the coming 12 to 18 months moving forward?
Yeah, so actually, as part of our strategy, we constantly look at our, internal customers' needs. We have, as I mentioned earlier, as part of our enterprise operating model, we rolled out a method, a framework, like you build, you own. In the past, there used to be a centralized test delivery team. And I'm sure this is common in other corporates as well. As the industry is adapting the Agile, the testing is federated into the development team. So, as the development community develop different tech stacks, the need for testing their application also changes. So, as we manage the test platform, being part of the test engineering team, we actually look at the constant needs and then explore what is offered by the products and position ourselves to enable our community with the new features. So that is our strategy to deal with in the next 12, 18 months. I just want to add this point and close with it. Now the AI ML is getting very popular, and that is one area, we are actually looking at seriously to explore and position ourselves for the future state of testing needs.
Yeah, I was going to ask Bhaskar, from an AI and ML perspective, Bhaskar or Gopinath, what do you see as the key opportunities there for you moving forward that you could leverage from a testing perspective? Bhaskar?
Yeah, definitely. We are looking for the model transformations and also how do we leverage the test automation for the models testing, right, within the AI/ML realm. We are already kind of evaluating different products that are well suited for AI/ML. Though we are kind of currently leveraging the existing tools and providing some custom solutions, but the industry is kind of also fast advancing in providing some ready-made solutions. And the other day when I attended one of the AWS Summit, I see pretty good number of vendors are providing solutions in the AI/ML and governance from the testing perspective as well, right? So those are some of the things that we are actively pursuing. And in addition, I want to highlight on one strategy that we are looking for load on our cloud is be able to provide the load generators with Linux OS. Currently, we are only working with Windows, but having a Linux OS based load generators within our ecosystem would help reduce the cost, because that's an important element when we are kind of using any of the tools, platforms. The other driver is also the cost be an important consideration for us. And that is an active item we are working with OpenText, R&D, and product management.
Thank you so much. That was very helpful discussion from both of you. I'd like to conclude this session with a few questions that we all can address potentially. The first one is around the most common challenges in software quality testing and how IT and developer leaders can address them. So I'm curious, Julian, about your thoughts on that, being out in the field as a provider of automated test solutions. What do you see as those kinds of issues, and what do you see as the best ways in which your customers are moving forward on them? And then glad to hear from Bhaskar and Gopinath on that as well.
Yeah, thanks, Melinda. It's incredible, the last 20 years of innovation as Agile transformation has taken organizations from one release every year, 18 months, 24 months, to releasing several times a day. The need for embedded integrated shift left testing has just exploded, and I think this is the big challenge that everyone is currently addressing. How do we ensure that application engineering is high quality, has testing inbuilt from the outset? And when I say testing, that's not just performance engineering or load testing, that's security, vulnerability testing, that's having the notion of a secured software supply chain as part of that testing process to be able to guarantee the historical precedence of your software as well as the future state of it. So that's the big shift that we're seeing at the moment, and to stand on the shoulders of Bhaskar, very much AI and ML. How do we work with large language models? How do we ensure that the application of training data to those large language models is tested in the right manner, and making sure that the ongoing performance engineering of applications isn't impacted as we introduce AI and ML concepts. So that's the big challenge that I think most of our customers are currently shifting to address. They've moved into the world of Agile. They've transitioned into continuous delivery practices, that shift left, that embedded quality, that continuous testing quality as part of the delivery cycle. And then the next step into AI, ML, and validation of everything that's happening with AI models getting injected into application delivery.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on that as well. It's both the speed at which organizations need to deliver software. It's faster than ever, right? As part of their DevOps processes, the complexity across platforms where you've got multiple technology stacks and multimodal deployment needs. And then at the same time, you have this evolving opportunity with AI and ML to help address those levels of complexity, while there are still risks as well around what those models are based on and how we can continue to involve those further. So Bhaskar and Gopinath, any thoughts that you may have about what you see as the biggest challenges facing folks with regards to software quality testing moving into the coming months?
Let me take on that from my perspective. This has been a challenge for some time, and we have been internally kind of, evaluating how do we tackle that problem, right? So one is, how do we kind of manage the test evidence? We can also call this as test attestation, right? When we went with the federated model of testing, along with that also we have inherited a problem of how do we gather the test execution status, we call as test evidence, right? So we have been looking at how do we kind of, make sure there is a standardized way to capture those metrics and be able to, standardize the testing practice across different business portfolios. Because the moment you federate, people have the tendency of using different type of frameworks, testing tools, mostly the open source, right? You have abundance of the tools. So no matter, we do encourage people to kind of, be creative and then start using those tools. But how do we kind of, keep track of the test execution? That's one thing we have been kind of actively pursuing.
It builds on another question that I have, which is around process change, cultural and process and organizational change, to move to continuous testing and to move to agile processes, something that you've successfully done. So I'm curious, Gopinath, maybe you could comment on how you did that, right? And how you see that evolving. Obviously, it's a big challenge to get people to change their behavior. I like to say that human beings are way more wired for consistency than we are for change, and that Darwin is right, but only when death is the alternative. So how did you help get your organization to change? And was that from a top-down perspective? Was it bottom-up? Was it both? How did that work?
Okay, thanks, Melinda, for that's a wonderful question. The culture is a biggest challenge any organization face, especially when we began our agile journey as part of digital engineering, digital transformation. There was a lot of noise in terms of people sticking to the old way of doing things, and then there is a new way of ideas coming up, and it took a time and a lot of training for the folks from the bottom who actually implement the work. The leadership was very supportive as they rolled out the Agile adoption across the company, and the leadership actually opened up a lot of training programs for our associates so that they understand how they contribute to the mission of the company, and which is the key thing. Agile also mandates, right? So if I don't understand what's my purpose of doing my work, then I cannot add value. Absolutely. So there is always a question: why? So all these things actually helped eventually to shape up the agile squads, and they focus on the importance of delivering things in a timely manner. And we also evolved our testing practices, as Bhaskar mentioned. And one of the thing is testing it in a timely fashion. So if a feature is changing and we test the feature in sprint in DevSecOps pipeline. So building that automation for the testing is the key for delivering the features ahead of time, so that a dependent squad can build their feature in a time to meet business value streams, expectations.
Thank you so much for that thoughtful response. I'd like to close out our session now for today, thanking our Fannie Mae contributors, thanking Julian. It was great to have an opportunity to speak with you all today. The key takeaway that I'd like to give to the audience, key takeaways would be: examine and assess your current portfolio for automation with regards to automated software quality. Look at the gaps that exist. Understand the organizational process strategies to systemically adopt automation and make a shift to continuous testing. And look thoughtfully at these emerging capabilities from an AI and ML perspective to leverage the information that you'll be gathering from a DevOps perspective for automation. Thanks again for our time, and back to Barbara.
Thanks. That was great. That's all the time we have for today. I'd like to say thank you to my guests, Melinda from IDC, Gopinath from Fannie Mae, Bhaskar, also from Fannie Mae, and Julian from OpenText. And thanks to you, our audience, for joining us. For additional information on this topic, please visit the resources section on your screen. For CIO and OpenText, I'm Barbara Call.